After being there for quite some time, I was sent away on a lot of courses, and I finished up. We moved back then into a place called Hamble, which is just outside Southampton. I was sent away on a course, and this is where we was really getting prepared for D-Day. I went on several tank courses, and I was told that I was a fitter in the army, trained mechanic in the army. I was told that I had to go into the tank corps, and I went on courses to learn all about tanks and all the inside of it and all the mechanical side of it. I went down to Bovington, and then we went to Chilwell. I went on several courses actually. Eventually I went up to Catterick, and of course I eventually got into a tank battalion called the 144 RAC, and of course we moved all over the place, first down the south, then up to Scotland, and we had tank action up there under live ammunition to break us in. And we went on an assault course and one or two other strenuous exercises. Of course this was done under with plastic grenades thrown at us and crawling under live fire and all that. Anyway, it was great fun. In the end we all made it into a big joke. But anyway, we come back, and I was shipped up to Scotland thinking it was going over to Africa, and that was all cancelled. They thought they'd hang on to us for D-Day. So we came back and waited around, and then of course we was back in France again, all over about D-Day. We had to fight our way through minefields, but of course our tanks was all to get over there. We went over this landing craft that was all sealed up, and we had to unseal them when we got there. Our first action was at Noyers, and where we lost nearly all our officers in our battalion, but we lost quite a number of people there. And we had dummy tanks all blown up, making out to draw the enemy onto us so that they could break up through into 112 and 113 and get into Caen. Anyway, that was one big crunch that we had, and after that we got through, it was the minefields actually, it was causing all the trouble. I finished up spending the night in a minefield, and I couldn't move either way. But eventually we had to go back on somebody else's track mark when it got light. We eventually got out of that all right, and then we took up action in an old orchard. Then we came our first action. We moved up into the hill 112, 113. Several people had a go at this. We got up to the top of it, and soft vehicles dug in. We just got a bulldozer up there, an armoured bulldozer, and dug into the ground, and so the vehicles, soft vehicles we call them, used to go right into them and bury their nose in it so they wouldn't damage their engines and their radiator and things like that from shell fire. And we waited there then for the big push into Caen, and we had to do a night push in there with any armoured vehicle we could find, and pile all the troops on it, all the infantry on them. And then we went by compass. It was dark, we had to have hatches down. And the area we had to go over was heavily bombed by the flying fortresses, and of course left several craters which gave us a lot of trouble. I had to raise my hat to a German that was the crew of an anti-tank gun that was knocking our tanks out, and the dead tanks was everywhere. Anyway, we went on this night push, and our destination was, our target I should say, was a village, which we never did get there. We didn't get to the village that night. And in the morning, of course, we were still under this 88 gun that was still pelting away at these tanks. We were in a wide open place. That's why we went by night. But now it got light, of course, so you had a beautiful target of it. I was hitched onto another tank and was trying to pull it out of a bomb hole, one of our own bomb holes that was. Overcome this shell, and he pointed his gun straight at us. He fired at us, and I missed the first shell. It went, as I dived up onto the tank to get into the tank and take a shot. He was aiming at the tank actually, but it was down on aft from this bomb hole, and it was what we call dead ground, and where he wasn't getting his target right. As I got onto the top of the tank, the next shell came along, which was an armoured piercing, and passed my chest, that near that I could feel the burning of it across my chest, and that went straight into the, I looked like to see what it was, and it went straight into the soil. I just moved a few pebbles, that's all you see. Those things really travel. I dived into the tank and got my visor up to see what was going on, and there was Poles all around me. They was fighting with us. They was dead over their shovels, and eventually it eased up, come out of there, and me and my driver were still in the tank. We got out, and there was about 12 of us, and we were the only two that got out there alive, except one, and he had shrapnel across the chest, but he was still living. And we were lucky there. That was my luckiest spot of the war. And then, of course, we moved from there and took up action. Well, I won't go into all this. There was action after action after action, right the way through to the Elbe. Of course, we was rushed to the Ardennes when the Americans was pushed through to take up action there on a Christmas Day. But before all this, of course, we had cleaned the coast. We went right through to Le Havre. We captured Le Havre, right up into Holland. We captured some of the big bunkers there, and where the doodle bugs were. We went right through Helvoort. Eventually came to the Rhine, where we had the honour of being given the title of the 4th RTR. As you know, we were the 144 RAC in the first place. For this reason, it was that the 4th RTR was the first to cross the Rhine in the 1914 war. And of course they wanted the same flag to be taken across in this war. So we were changed over to Buffaloes, excepting for my crew. We still kept our tank because we were on recovery mostly. We were then, of course, being prepared to cross the Rhine with the infantry. After the Rhine crossing, of course, it was just sweeping through Germany. We fought right up until we got up with the Americans, and from there we went across the Elbe and started to round up prisoners. They were still throwing shells at us, but it must have been somebody that was emptying all the shells he could find for the sake of getting rid of them, because they was all landing in the same place all the time. We just used to make a detour around them. And anyway, everybody was all looking for loot at this moment, this time I should say. We used to use our aerials and for prodders. They were bringing up all sorts of things, all the best linens and what have you. Of course, our next job was rounding up all the prisoners. This meant leaving my battalion and going to another tank battalion where which they was being disbanded or something like that anyway, because I was getting ready for my demob. We used to put them in pens like we would sheep actually. You had a fence all around, all fenced off, and one for Hamburg and all different places where these prisoners was liable to live. They was all loaded into lorries and then taken to all their destinations. Of course, a lot of swapping used to go on amongst these Germans with their loot, some with piano accordion, goodness knows what. We were stopping them and searching them, and we finished up in a very large house, and we were waited on by Germans. We was given trips to different places to have a knees up, as we called everybody. Every night we went there, we had somebody's birthday, of course, whether it was a birthday or not. Everybody had one. We started off with a glass, and then it was a bowl, and then it was a barrel on the table. All our glasses used to be kept topped up, and everything was going okay. Until, of course, we all got demobbed, and that was that. Back to dear old Blighty, and thank you very much.